Hey, all right. Welcome, everyone. Happy May 1st and happy first call of the month. It's International Workers' Day. Let's do our metaphor check-in. And for fun, I'm curious if there's any favorite TV show or movie that you are looking forward to soon. Yeah, anything, anything new, so we can hear what you're anticipating. Ezra, I'm gonna put you on the spot,
Great.
as I always do.
Um, so metaphor would be um um telling a painter that now you're going to sculpt, and the painter who always does fruits or vegetables, or what is it called anyway?
Still,
Still life art.
still life art. Okay.
Um Says, "Oh, so you want me to do clay structure of a pear, an apple, and they say of a horse." And oh, okay. And so I feel like that's what's going on, and I'm I have carved out most of the horse.
Hmm. Okay.
The TV pilot that I'm working on, the rough draft is done, and now I'm working on it, so refining it.
And you feel good about that?
It is great. I'm
Okay.
having so much fun with that.
Okay, good.
Um, uh, let's see, television, movie. Um, See, there was a recent, I can't think of anything, so I'll just say what I used to be excited about seeing, and I saw it. There was a horror film called Smile 2. Um, and I loved the first one, so I was curious about the second one. And uh, I think people gave it good reviews, and I
Hmm.
thought it deserved good reviews. I liked it. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Did you see it yet?
yeah, I saw it.
Okay.
It was great.
Okay, good. Anticipated and enjoyed.
Yes.
Excellent. Great. Thank you. And can you call Rocket up on your lap otherwise? Who would like to go next? Hugh is not the droid we are looking for.
Oh my God.
You did this hand gesture.
Oh yeah. So no, I should be like this.
There you go. Oh, okay. Okay.
Uh,
Who is the droid we are looking for?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. Oh, well, actually, those were the droids they were looking for, but Kenobi got them, weak-minded fools.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my metaphor check-in.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like I've moved into a new building. Because the perpetual struggles that I've had to revise, rework, rejigger, reconstruct, patch the cracks in the wall. I've moved into a new building instead, and started off with a really good idea from you, Beth, is to start my chapter one. Well, have a new chapter one. Start it like 3 hours after that beginning that I had, like in the middle of the oh shit moment,
Hmm.
and then chapter two have a little narrative sort of thing at the beginning and saying, and before the world had been thrown into chaos. And then it goes back to that beginning with my character sort of on the top of that wall looking out and say, what the hell is going on?
Hmm.
So I still get to keep my in medias res,
Yeah.
but a very short chapter one that lets me just get cut to the chase, get an idea of who the main players are, and then go back to the beginning rather than starting at the beginning and just trying to fold it all in.
Hmm.
So I have been writing a new chapter one, which was partway through chapter two, I think. And so I'm going to do that for a few pages, and then and see where we get from there. So it's brand new writing.
Fun.
Uh, a brand new first chapter, and yeah, and so chapter two will be the old chapter one. Anyway, blah blah blah. I'm taking up too much time here. So what TV show or movie am I looking forward to? Well, Andor season two was just released, so there's a whole bunch of episodes I have yet to see. I did not expect to like Andor as much as I liked season one. I
Mhm.
mean, I just really fell in love with it.
Yeah.
Um, and there are other seasons I'm waiting for. Strange New Worlds season three is I saw some stills from it. It looks a little strange, but that's the name of the title. And someone was just asking me today, when are we going to get the next season of House of the Dragon?
Ooh.
Because season two ended off on a gargantuan cliffhanger,
Mm.
gargantuan. And
Ah.
so I don't know when the new season is going to come out. So when it does, you might not see me for a while. Yeah.
And which is that George R. R. Martin world?
Yeah, it's the prequel to Game of Thrones. I think it was like 100 or 200 years before the events of Game of Thrones with the Targaryens and when there were lots and lots of dragons
Fun.
still and vying for power.
Mhm. Oh, fun. Oh, really interesting. Love all of those. Cool. Thank you. Awesome, awesome. All right. Who else would like to check in next? Let's see. Katie, Diana.
I
Kate.
can go. We always do this like 1 second beat. Uh,
Yeah, you're in the spotlight.
oh, I didn't think of a metaphor. I'll start with what I'm excited and anticipating. House of the Dragon, also another big recommendation there. I think it's better than I've enjoyed it more than Game of Thrones because Game of Thrones was a little bit more violent towards women in its showing, and that's a little less with House of the Dragon. Um, it's still not completely gone, but it's a little less violent, which is kind of enjoyable. But something I just saw come on as a ad for me was The Gilded Age, which is like Regency going into like industrial age kind of story. And season three is coming on HBO, and I'm very excited. I ran through that show so fast when I watched it like a year ago. So I'm very excited for it. And I guess metaphor check-in. Not going in a new direction in terms of like my book, but going in a new direction for writing because there's a potential fellowship that I might be applying for, which would be a little bit more academic and like political commentary for a magazine. And I got recommended by a friend for it. So who knows? I don't know. We'll see.
Really exciting. Very, very fun. Great. Thank you. Love those recommendations. All right, Diana. And we got some applause there from Hugh. Awesome. I love those little emojis. Welcome. Hi.
Yeah. So, metaphor check-in, right? So, last time I was here, my metaphor was like, I felt like being that cartoon character who got steamrolled and completely flattened.
Oh, yes.
And I feel like the cartoon is continuing because you know that a lot of times with the character, the joke is they get flattened over and over and over. And some of it is actually good. Like my husband and I just signed a contract to actually close on a house at the end of the month. So, but in terms of the impact on writing, it doesn't matter. I'm still being steamrolled. So
Okay.
that's definitely happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, that metaphor is continuing. I hope the audience is laughing though.
Yeah.
And then something I'm looking forward to, I don't know why, but like the one popular like television or movie that I seem to be able to keep on top of is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I am aware that like tomorrow, I think a new movie is coming out.
Mhm.
And so should I find the time, I would quite enjoy going, I think.
Mhm.
I just have to find the time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's an intense metaphor.
Do you know what the Marvel film is?
I see the picture in my
Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts. It's with
Thunderbolts.
all these secondary characters who get to do adventure.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Thank you. And I see we have Nicole arrived. Hey, Nicole, we're doing our metaphor check-ins. Oh, you can unmute, Nicole. You actually were unmuted. Go ahead and unmute and tell us your metaphor check-in. And also, we're asking everyone, what is their anticipated TV show or film that's coming out soon that they're looking forward to enjoying? So you're welcome to unmute if you want and let us know. And then in the interim, I will do my metaphor check-in and stuff and stuff and stuff and stuff.
Oh,
Oh, good.
okay.
Hey.
Hey. Okay, you go.
Okay. So my metaphor check-in is, I guess I'm a creative baker, because I was just listening to a Hannah Swenson recipe. You know, those are the culinary recipes that I enjoy, and so I feel like I'm a creative baker.
A creative baker.
Very fun.
Oh, I like it. Very appropriate. And is there a favorite, is there a TV show or a film that you're anticipating being able to enjoy that's coming out soon?
So, you know, I'm a Goosebumps fan, and they have the Fear Street Prom Queen coming out on Netflix. I'm assuming, I guess I shouldn't, but I'm assuming it will be audio described, because the last couple Fear Streets were, and I literally just saw the trailer. Not that the trailer was audio described, that would have been nice, but anyway, but that's one thing I'm looking forward to checking out, if it's audio described or not.
You said the Fear Street Prom Queen.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, that
Wow.
sounds freaky.
Yeah.
I guess we might enjoy that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep.
That's great check-in. All right. What is my metaphor check-in? I feel like I'm in one of those fun house room. Well, I guess it's a room that's full of balls, and you're like in there, you think it's going to be fun, and then you just start sinking, and it's like, this is not fun anymore. Can I leave now? It's like too much input, and everyone's yelling, all the kids are yelling, and you're like, oh, okay, I've had enough. It was fun for like the first 30 seconds. I don't know. I just feel like I'm a bit bombarded by everything right now. It's all good and pretty and colorful, but maybe I just need a break. I
Mhm.
think. Yeah. And yeah, I finished editing, was it yesterday or the day before? I think it was the day before, my latest version of my TV pilot script. And today I was working on the cover letter and playing with Notion AI to compile all of my thoughts. And yeah, have it looked at one more time by you and the
Mhm.
other critique partner, and then turn it in. And so I can go back to Janie, because I was working on Janie world building today. That was so fun. And what I'm looking forward to, I'm also looking forward to Strange New Worlds, the Star Trek. And I'm also looking forward to, I'm pretty sure it's coming, is Lupin, the French TV series. I'm rewatching the first two seasons. I think, yeah, in English it's called Lupin. Lupin? How do we say it without the French accent? I don't know. Really enjoying it, and I've been really working on my French, so listening to it in French, reading the French subtitles. It's really fun. But it got really scary. I had to turn it off mid-episode last night. I'm like, that's it. Some favorite character might be offed. I don't know. I can't remember. All right. Cool. Did we get everyone? Any late arrivals that I didn't catch? No. All right. Okay, I have a writing prompt for everyone. Everyone ready? Let's see. This is something new, and this is inspired by the class yesterday that I had my friend Gala Russ teach on romantic subplot, which is almost ready and everyone will have access to. And I highly recommend it. This is really quite something, really wonderful on how do you integrate a romantic subplot into your main plot. And I think everybody here has a romantic subplot in their story. So it was very, very, very good. All right. So, but what she talked about in there is to think about the mood of your story. And we're not going to talk about romance right now. We're just going to talk about in general. I'm going to post this into the chat. The prompt is number one, take a moment to think about the mood of your story. So here's some examples: suspenseful, upbeat, intriguing, spooky, romantic, heartfelt, questing, earnest. So just think of it in one mood. If you could put the mood into one word, what would that be? And maybe we'll take this step at a time if you give you a moment to think about that. And then, well, maybe I'll just explain the whole thing and then we'll be quiet for 5 minutes. And then I want you to list 5 to 10 words for the mood to just free associate, just start to brain dump, no censorship, just brainstorm. So because my story has kind of got this earnest quality, I just started playing with words. Curious, wondering, connecting the dots, uncovering a mystery, yearning for connection, loving the newness, adventure. So you see, I'm just free associating throughout my story when I started with the word earnest. And that just gave me some things to think about, and I was really thinking about them from my main character's point of view. And then the third step is the craft part. Take a scene where you are, rework a few sentences to get started, and see if you can insert or enhance the mood. If you're going for suspenseful, or if you're going for that quest, adventure, scary thing, see if you could go ahead and then up the mood. So we really get the mood in every sentence. Any questions about that? This total experiment. I've never tried this before. I'm eager to try it myself. And it's really about playing. So, excuse me. Any questions before we go? Yeah, 5 minutes. Sounds good. All right, I'm going to set a timer. I'll see y'all in 5 minutes. Oh, and Nicole, just go ahead and work on your story, whatever is next for you. Ezra is still writing, so let's do another minute or two if you'd like. If you're done, you can put your material in the chat.
Thanks.
No problem. Ezra needed a few extra minutes. That was fun. Excellent.
So,
While Ezra pastes that in, and it looks like we are also waiting for Hughes. How was that exercise? Yeah, Katie's nodding, thumbs up. Diana, how was that for you?
I kind of struggled thinking of a mood for the whole novel, so I just went with like a scene.
That's great. Yeah, I think it is a challenging exercise. And it's also, yeah, you can have different scenes that are changing, and then it's all going to make something at the end. Great. And we got Hughes. That's okay. That's okay, Hugh. Yeah.
good sentences.
Good sentences. Yeah. I just grabbed something from my chapter 9 because I haven't really edited it at all lately for a long time. So yeah. All right. Let's and overall, Hugh, I know you're struggling to find good sentences, but how was it to think about the mood of your story and do some free?
Yeah, I really liked it because it helps me understand potentially throughout the story and the books how the mood changes.
Yeah.
And how there may be more than one mood depending upon the point of view character.
Yes, that too. Yeah, absolutely. Love it. And this is going to fit into what we do next, our little teaching time too. Great. Ez, can you please read our
Yours?
inputs? Yeah, start with mine.
Great. Jenny pushed open the doors to the hub, the state-of-the-art communications center of the station where Bryce and his team coordinated all the movements of the Lumerian shuttlecrafts out on salvage runs or whatever they did. Whatever it was, they kept it hush-hush from her, As soon as she entered, the wide screens shaded from her view. Must be on privacy mode because of her, the only outsider on the station. But how did they detect?
How?
But how did they detect she was an outsider? She didn't have time to ponder that question more as Bryce hustled up to her. Second time in one day. I must be popular. He didn't smile. Pal said to ask about a room.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Janie's. Okay, great. Thank you.
And what was your overall mood?
At first it was earnest,
Ernest.
but kind of like curious, wondering, connecting the dots, uncovering a mystery,
Okay.
yearning for connection, adventure, newness. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
Um, Katie's. The overall mood for this part is heroic. Specific words: mythic, defiant, epic, struggle, destiny, choice. Jonathan placed a hand on each of our shoulders, firm, warm, not forceful. Then he turned again, disappearing through the green veil of undergrowth like some creature of myth and legend, leading us deeper into a land unknown. I looked at Sam, feeling as if the weight of the world were draped over my shoulders. She wasn't looking at me. She was staring off into the trees, shoulders tight, face pale. Are you okay? I whispered. She shook her head slowly. We're unworthy, she said, voice cracking. We're not going to get back in time for anything. Not for Mom and Dad's funeral. Not for school. Nothing. I felt that grief punch me low in the gut, but I couldn't let it show. Not now. I was the big sister, the one who made things okay. I touched her shoulder. We'll figure something out. I promise.
Hmm. Really nice,
Good.
Katie. I can see the heroic thread very strongly throughout that.
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
it's good.
Thank you.
Um, Diana's overall mood mysterious, with words unsettled, worried, slightly spooked, questioning, curious, intrigued, peering into shadows, searching.
Starting with navigating.
Yeah. Navigating the dark steps was slow and nerve-wracking. Clara bent over, peering at the floor before taking every cautious step. Each creak seemed magnified in the silence of the sleeping house, and her breath hitched with every noise. Shadows loomed large and ominous in the dim light, making her heart race.
Really nice. I got ominous, definitely, or spooky. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, and you had your word was mysterious. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fits.
And was that a rewrite, Diana, from what was before?
A little bit. I mean, some of it was originally there and I was tweaking.
Hmm. But I think this is a great example of the mood coming across very strongly,
Hmm.
and is a good thing for you to carry forward. As you know, I've asked you lots of questions about this kind of thing for your new setting. Yeah,
Mhm.
great,
Right.
good job. All right, what do we have for you?
You has the mood of questing, anguished, and maturing. The words chosen were dark, coming of age, finding courage, tragic, frightening, questioning reality. That's a fun one.
Ooh, really fun. Yeah. I'm wondering, Hugh, as you rework your material, this whole questioning reality, if you can play with a lot of direct inner thought of, so we really hear confusion.
Yeah, a lot of why, this isn't how it should be. This isn't what I've learned.
Hmm.
Uh, how do I function in this new way?
Yeah, and maybe there's some metaphor or simile there for that experience, the feeling. Yeah.
One question with questioning reality. Are you Is it just are you trying to make like an unreliable narrator, or are you just wanting him to like be confronting the realities of his world?
It's about confronting reality and growing up in the Mages Academy. He has no clue of what the real world is like, and
Yeah.
he's questioning what he was always taught is real and the way things are. So it's him. It's an increased awareness
Mm, cool.
and questioning what he was taught and the paradigms of how he grew up.
Oh, that's great. Thanks. Yeah, thank you. We'll do Ezra's and then check in with Nicole.
I chose a scene where it's the ending scene, so everything is just kind of blasé. It's just tying up loose ends. So I wanted to figure out like how can I make this a little more interesting? But okay, so the mood is relaxed, thankful, steamy, minty, smooth, kind, tilted head, smiles, handshakes. Okay, here's the scene. Abigail takes Celeste's hand in hers and smiles. I can't thank you enough. Diego smiles weakly. Sorry about how we last left Mary with you. Don't even think of apologizing. Hezekiah shakes Diego's hands. You saved our daughter's life. Celeste looks around the living room. Where is Mary? Abigail chuckles. Upstairs with her new boyfriend. Wow, Celeste says. In her bedroom? You are quite trusting parents. Abigail and Hezekiah look at each other with that psychic concern parents have.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, seems like you're still writing it. There's still a bit more, but you're wrapping it up.
Yeah, well, I think that would be I can't remember how I have it. I'll have to look at it
Oh,
again. But what it did invite me to consider is handshaking.
handshake.
Yeah, because I don't think I had handshakes in the scene,
Oh, okay.
but it makes sense to just like, oh, thank you
Mhm.
so much.
Right.
Just say goodbye to them. Yeah.
That's great. Thanks. And Nicole, did you do some writing?
Yep.
Good. How would you describe in one word or two words the mood of the scene you're working on?
I guess dangerous and suspenseful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dangerous and suspenseful. That's great. Good, good, good. Excellent. All right, let's dive into today's topic, which is new adult, young adult, new adult, and adult. What is the difference and why does it matter? Why do we care? What's going on with all that? I can't remember who asked that question. I think it was does anyone remember? It might have been
It was me.
It was you, Diana. Great. Oh, I'm so glad that you're here.
Oh, Katie.
Katie.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Katie. Sorry, I could not tell the difference. All right, so your audience, readership, and market, young adult, new adult, and adult. Differences, similarities, and why do these distinctions matter, or do they? So I thought what we'd do is I'm going to go through each of them and talk about the key differences, and then we have an exercise, which relates to some degree with what we just did, and a little discussion around marketing and another way of looking at them, and then that's it. We'll wrap up. So, but I totally welcome questions as we go. I had fun making this. I did grab it. I did use Perplexity for this, which gave me lots of great information, and all their sources are cited at the end. So let's start with young adult. And I specifically tailored this today to science fiction and fantasy, SFF. All right, so who here is writing new adult? I mean, young adult, sorry. I'm writing it. I think you are too, Katie.
Yes.
Anybody else consider the fact writing?
Is Hugh or
Sure, no, I don't think so. Well, let's
Mine is adult.
adult, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So typically in a young adult story, the protagonist's age is like 15 to 18. And there are subcategories for younger and for older teens. So if you get down to like 11 and 12-year-olds, maybe you're in middle grade. And if you're a little bit older, you might be flowing into new adult, but maybe not. You're still it depends on your point of view characters, I guess. Themes typically focus on coming of age, identity, friendship, first love, self-discovery, and since we're doing science fiction fantasy, with against the backdrop of fantastical or futuristic backdrops. So over the years that I've been working on YA, I have seen sometimes the content can tackle dark and complex issues, in, but usually explicit sexual content is rare or handled with restraint. It depends. Romance is often present and can be central, but the sexual situations are often closed door or implied completely. So tone and style tends to be fast-paced, character-driven, and often written in the first person. I'm thinking of Hunger Games. Often a strong emphasis on personal stakes, emotional intensity, and really accessible prose. The market and the audience. It's often aimed at teens, but widely read by adults. Raising hand over here. And its popularity has led to crossover hits and a significant adult readership. And some great examples are The Hunger Games, Divergent, which made into movies. Hunger Game was the movies as well, and Shadow and Bone, which is a TV series. I think I was watching some of that, but I hadn't read them. So do you read this? I have read a lot. Other folks here, maybe just say yes out loud or put in the chat if you also read young adult. And I want to point out that the stories will often have multiple points of view, but not always. And
Diana does read it.
Diana reads it great.
And Hugh.
And Hugh. And then so who writes this? So me and Katie. Anybody else? Oh, Diana, you're working on young adult probably, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean even though the main character is younger than your age range, it's the best aligned.
Yeah, so yeah, I think so because you're dealing with more adult themes, even though she's just what, 11, 12, 13?
12, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
It's awkward when you have a ballet that literally has a little girl and a adult prima ballerina.
It's so interesting that that's become such a thing. So let's contrast that.
Series would be classified as young adult thriller, wouldn't it?
Say that again.
Goosebumps series.
Goosebumps. Yeah, Goosebumps. Whoops, it's not letting me type. Let me type. I would say Goosebumps is actually middle grade, but I don't know. What do you think, Is? We've read
I would say middle grade. There's almost zero romance.
Well,
The relationship between male and female is like, oh, don't be gross, kind of thing of like sticking their tongue out or whatever.
yeah.
But
Yeah, I would maybe some of the stories might be YA, but I think most of the stories are going to be middle grade in Goosebumps, and that's probably how it's marketed.
Okay, I guess the Harry Potter series then would be like
Harry Potter would definitely be young adult, because it's high schoolers essentially. I mean, it's true when they start, maybe they're 11, but they get older and older as the series goes. I would include Harry Potter and young adult. As there's looking confused.
oh yeah, I mean, I'm trying to remember like
With Harry Potter, it's like romance, but like I think like the most that happens is like a peck on the cheek, or snogging. Sorry, I know there's a little bit of snogging in the book, but it's so very tame.
Yeah. But I think the themes of friendship and it has some dark and complex issues and
Right.
coming of age and identity, self-discovery, right? They're all learning about their powers and everything. Though I would put Harry Potter under YA.
Yeah, J.K. Rowling, she talked about how she really struggled because she didn't actually want her daughter to start reading the books because she knew that they were headed in a darker and more adult direction.
Mhm.
But the problem was her daughter was going to school and everybody was talking about the books.
Yeah. And I know kids as young as probably 10 were reading that. And I would definitely, I put my work through, I forget what it's called, Fleischman reading level, and it scored at 11 years old, sixth grade. So that's another way you can, I had to decide, am I writing young adult or not? Because that helped me make editorial choices about the language, content.
Okay.
I made up a bunch of swear words because I knew that if I were too explicit, it would get kind of rejected by people caring that it was young adult. So these are decisions that I had to think about while I was editing. Um, all right, we got some echo going on. I'm just going to mute you for right now, Nicole. Um, all right, let's move on because we've got two more categories to deal with, and our cat is snoring. All right, the next one is a new adult. And this one came up really in like 2000. It started being a thing. Protagonist age is usually 18 to 25, sometimes up to 30. The themes are really tuned to that age group in at least in the Western world, focusing on leaving home, navigating college or first jobs, developing independence, exploring sexuality, making adult choices. And it's really a big focus on the transition from adulthood, from adolescence to adulthood, very much. And often it's going to be explicit in its sexual content and mature themes and, reflecting the what goes on in people's lives at that age. So you might see college settings, early career, first big job, um, moving away from home, getting settled in a new town, that kind of thing. So it's going to feature characters facing adult responsibilities for the first time. And it's really a new category. I really started seeing it, and I haven't actually seen it in the science fiction and fantasy realm. I've seen it in contemporary, and it's very big in indie publishing, and it's very much oriented to the romance genre, I would say. But a big book in that is category is A Court of Thorns and Roses, which I have not read. But people go back and forth, I guess, whether or not it's YA or NA. And then Serpent and Dove. I actually don't read hardly anything in this age group, but I have, I think, and I've written a few. My romances actually are about people in this age group. When I thought about it, I'm like, oh yeah, all of my protagonists are all like early 20s, pretty much early to mid 20s, having big life transitions. So I think I must have read a little bit, but not a whole lot. Anybody working on this specifically?
Counts for pretty much all of my
Your
Alice's.
Alice books, yeah. Um,
I This is why I had the question because my main character, the one who the story is really revolving around, Beth,
Mhm.
who is
Who's
aptly
it?
named Beth, um, she starts at like 16, 17, and then the story ends with her at 25.
Yeah.
And like my idea around it is like they cuss like from the very beginning. Like they're not using like they're not dropping the F-bomb, but like they're pretty freely using curse words as older teenagers do. And like that transition from 18 to hey, I'm like a young adult, um, where, we get into that like 25-year-old area,
Mhm.
has been interesting because I don't know if yeah, I mean, I haven't really decided on the romance aspects or how in detail I want to get, but it is interesting to think where, where does the line go when it comes to like language and use of language versus like sexually explicit content and that kind of stuff, and like how like if you do a little bit more of this, how much does it take in terms of like curse words to like push you over the line into new adult where like kids shouldn't be reading it, quote
Mhm.
unquote. And like where that line kind of goes, has been like a bit of a struggle for me.
Yeah, and it could be that because your characters are in a fantastical world, that you use made up swear words
Mm.
get around that. Because I just think of your audience. Your protagonist is 16 when the book opens, and is 16 for at least the first few books. I'm not sure, or at least, and that means, and readers tend to read up.
Mm.
So if the protagonist is 16, maybe your readers are 13, 14, 15. Um, so it also comes down to who do you want to be talking to?
Yeah.
Is it that age group? Um, and I think yeah, it's
Yeah, I mean, I feel also the same way. It's if the goal is to have new adults, 18 to 25, be the readership, then curse words would kind of push the book into that category.
Mm.
Whereas if you give the opportunity to or the time to come up with silly words, not silly words, made up curse words or curse words that are creative and not officially curse words,
Mm.
like in Extraterrestrial ET, the
mm,
the little boy accuses his older brother penis breath, and the mother laughs as a what? But so then you get to stay in that
young adult.
young adult.
And you can also be addressing darker themes without using explicit swear words and
Mm.
still deal with the more mature themes. I mean, if you're trying to be like PG-13, I'm just thinking of an adult science fiction story that I read, trilogy, that deals with adult themes, but I could imagine teenagers really enjoying it. It's the janitors of the post-apocalypse, and it's I think it could be accessible to teenagers. So you can still be writing in the adult category, but be accessible to teenagers too. And then, yeah, and that's I don't know if that helps. I
Yeah.
think thematically too, you are dealing with a teenager who leaves home right away.
Mhm.
So that also puts you right in the new adult thing.
Yeah. I will say I've read A Court of Thorns and Roses and all of the other books following it. And it's very funny to see it marketed as a YA book because some of the marketing materials that they sent out boxes to readers that included sex toys. So yeah, and like I mean, there were some teenagers who ordered these boxes, like marketing boxes, and received that, and it was a bad look for sure. Just because
Oh,
you
wow.
should be sending that to, you know,
Teenagers, yeah, under
people
18.
who are not of age. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah, yeah, it's interesting to see this kind of unfolding where it's like
Mm.
it's pretty sexually explicit as well in every single book. There's yeah, pretty graphic detail. So I think that in at least in this interpretation cements it in the new adult.
Yeah.
And I would say that's lends as part of its popularity.
Mhm.
Hugh says, my protagonist is having a delayed adolescence, experiencing things he didn't experience in teenage years, but all at once, given the urgency of the events of the story, and sex and violence erupt into his life. Yeah, very much. So that kind of segues us to the next thing, because yeah, he's 24, your protagonist, Hugh, and that makes me think that you're actually working on an adult story. Um,
And I have a
but yeah,
question.
oh, before
Maybe
we
it's
jump in.
appropriate, yeah, to hear at this point.
Okay.
And that is, I don't know if everyone's read Judy Blume's Forever. Um,
Yes, when I was 15.
yeah, yeah. So, they didn't have new adults at the time, and
And she's a high school student in the story.
yeah,
So I don't think it would
right.
be a new adult. It would be a risque YA.
Oh my gosh,
And
it
there's
was.
plenty of those.
And after I read it, I was like 13 or something, and my friend read it. He and I went to the bookstore saying, we don't think this should be in the kids section. And
Uh,
the cashier just kind of smiled and said, well, Judy Blume's writes for kids, so we're gonna leave it there.
Because there was no YA section when we were
Yeah.
teenagers. That didn't exist yet in any library bookstore I know of. So, well, let's go into the adult category. Yeah, this is why pen names exist exactly.
Yeah.
So for your adult science fiction fantasy, protagonists are typically 20s and older, often with the protagonists who are fully independent adults. And that I'm just kind of arguing back and forth in my head for you, Hugh, that your character is not a fully independent adult yet, but will become one in your story. So it's almost bridging. He bridges pretty quickly into being an independent. So themes tend to be broader, more complex, including politics, philosophy, existential questions, mature relationships. Plots can be more intricate and less focused on coming of age.
I think that's key.
Okay,
So it's
which yeah,
less about finding oneself and more
Mhm.
about
Doing the thing
yeah,
that's
doing
got to
the
be
thing
done. Yeah.
and like participating in community or whatever. It's just
Mhm.
so politics, whatever. It's not about self, it is more about
Mhm.
the outer existence. I don't know.
Although, I mean, yeah, the coming of age doesn't, I mean, people are still hopefully growing and maturing in your stories, but
Right.
they're not like, oh, this is what it means to be an adult. So content, no restrictions on explicitness, often violence, sex, moral ambiguity, way more common and can be depicted in much greater detail. Tone and style, all kinds of things, literary, experimental, epic, and often lots of world building and thematic depth are prioritized, whatever that means. But uh, yeah, there might be a lot more time on the page spent talking about the things that matter to the characters. And then the market and the audience is primarily marketed to adults, even though sometimes those books have young protagonists. But the tone, the voice, the themes, those are all adult oriented. And the distinction, this is interesting, often comes down to tone, complexity, and marketing rather than just the protagonist's age. And some examples, Dune, actually, the first book in Dune, I think he's coming of age essentially in the very
Yeah.
first book, and he's a young prince. And he's probably like 18 or something. And then the Stormlight Archive, which I have not read, The Expanse, which I have not read, and a lot of other books like Janitors of the Post-Apocalypse, which deals with what does it mean to be human and colonization and power over and power with and all those things. Let's see. Do you read this? I often do. Do you write this? I do. Who here is working on this? I mean, I definitely would put myself in this category with my Janie books. Um, I don't know. Anybody feel like they're in this? I would say story, what story he's working on is in this category.
My thrillers.
Ezra's thrillers.
Yeah, I'm definitely here.
Yeah, I think so. I really do. I think there is the who am I kind of thing, but he gets over that. I mean, he has to grow up fast by the end of the third book, right?
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of time to get moving on things.
Yeah.
Um, and just to talk about what Ezra said, it's less, he's trying to find his courage, he's trying to find his way, but then he also realizes the practicality of the situation. Shit's going down, and I better do something about it. Otherwise, I'm going to be dead anyway, along with everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you are dealing with like those existential questions, philosophy, politics.
Oh yeah, there's going to be a lot of politics and the contention between mages and the um, kingdom endorsed religious groups.
Ooh, yes, excellent. Good. And so I like this table. We can see it all at once. We've got our YA, 15 to 18 protagonists, coming of age, identity, first love and relationship, content, explicitness is usually moderate style, tends to be fast paced, very character driven, very accessible. And the audience is teens, but lots of adults read this. New adult, we've got our protagonist age 18 to 25, sometimes a little older, like if, they've been living in their mom's basement, I guess for too long. Independence, sexuality, first jobs, adult choices are the themes. There tends to be way more explicitness there, and the tone can be romance heavy, transitional. I don't know what that means. and the readership is
Is that kind of an arc, except from in an extreme way?
maybe I should have checked. And then the audience is older teens and young adults. And I know when it started coming out, women in their 30s were writing these books kind of about their recent life transitions. And then adult, we've got our 20 and up, or you could even say 18 and up, depending on your story world. The themes tend to be complex, mature, and philosophical or political. The explicitness could be there's no restrictions. The tone and style could be all kinds of things, including literary or epic, very nuanced. And basically, the readership is adults. So, if you haven't already, answer these questions. And some of them are going to be a little bit new. So, what is your category? What is your protagonist's age? What are your main themes? What is your content explicitness? What is your tone and style? And what is your audience and market? And some of these things will be easy and others might be a little bit harder. Just take a stab at it and we'll do 5 minutes. Should probably not take much more than that. I'll turn on our little timer, playing with this computer timer, and I will make it quiet for 5 minutes. Did anyone hear that timer? Curious.
Yeah, I
Oh,
wondered what that was.
yeah.
Okay.
What?
Didn't think it would be heard that.
Yeah, I was curious. All right, we've got mine and Hughes and Ezra, Diana, Katie. Let me just start with Nicole. Nicole, did you do the exercise?
Well, I didn't do the exercise, I guess.
That's okay. Let me ask you, is your book young adult, new adult, or adult? Based on what we
But I mean, it has multiple protagonists, so I mean, multiple point of view characters. So,
some I know one of your characters is a child, but other characters are adults, right?
yeah, and I don't think I have the child telling from his point of view anything.
Oh, okay. So it's really adults are telling the story.
Yeah,
Okay. I would definitely then put yours book in the adult category then.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay. Good to know. Good to
Uh-huh.
know. And great. Okay. Uh thank you. You want to read mine, Ezra?
Yeah. The Janie books. In the adult category, Janie is 33. She's restarting after loss, trusting love, stepping into leadership.
So those are some of the
Those are the
themes.
themes.
Yeah.
Um,
Explicitness.
I see this is PG-13.
Yeah.
And the tone or style is fast-paced, direct, sometimes poetic, sometimes introspective. It's for adult readers.
Yes.
Um, all right, for Hughes, this is the category is adult, and the protagonist Tobias 24, Arbella is 30 plus, Rafen is 60s. In the main themes, coming of age, facing violence, questioning norms and accepted values, political and religious conflicts. Nice. The explicitness levels for it's adult, explicit violence, some sex, and not yet certain how explicit he'll get.
Oh yeah, I didn't consider violence in my story. It's not, it's a little off the page. So yeah, it's not super explicit. PG-13. Okay, keep going.
What's your tone and style? So Hughes is epic, and it's the audience and market is new adults to adults.
Yeah, cool.
That range.
That makes sense.
My series, the Deciding Grim TV series, the category is adult. Ages Celeste is 23, Diego is 25. The themes, demons destroyed by dominatrix and priest power.
Okay, those aren't really themes. That's
Those
more
aren't
your
themes.
plot.
That's a
Okay.
premise. Yeah, I don't know.
Themes, I think, would be moral, would be sexuality, um, good versus evil.
Yeah, definitely good versus evil.
Guilt, what is it called when we find, we try and restore our life again after doing something bad? Redemption. I think you have redemption going on in your story.
Yes, that's true.
Okay.
Great. All right. And then the explicitness, there's high verbal explicitness, but not curse words, but just the language used is. And then highly suggestible visually.
Lots of skin.
And lip biting.
Okay.
Tone, gritty humor. I don't know if that's a tone, but
Yeah.
and then The audience is adults.
Adults, yeah.
Okay. Diana's, her category is young adult. What is the protagonist age? 12 to 13. And the main themes, coming of age, the pros and cons of youth versus maturity, taking on responsibility, finding your place in the world. Content explicitness levels, not explicit. Tone and style, fantasy, coming of age.
I don't know if coming of age is a tone or style, but um, fantasy. And you might want to, maybe this is something we could talk about, Diana, but your tone and style is more like lyrical versus uh, character driven, fast paced.
Yeah, you got me thinking about age with this whole thing. So all my answers are really age related.
Related, yeah, yeah. Tone and style, that might be a topic we talk about.
The
Yeah.
simple solution is just to invert all ages. So they flip the numbers. Instead of 12 is 21 and 13 is 31.
That's not a solution.
No, it's
Oh.
not a solution.
Okay, keep reading, keep reading.
Okay. And then the audience market, the story theme is on the younger side of young adult, but maybe with more advanced vocabulary.
Yeah, and that's definitely like word choice. Excuse me. You could be for readable by 12-year-olds and still have a language that doesn't feel dumbed down at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. All right,
Right.
Katie's.
Katie's new adults, question mark. The
So Beth is her main character.
ages, yeah.
Oh, I see.
For books 1 and 2, Beth is 16 to 17 years old, and then from 17 to 18, and then 18 years old in book 3, and then 19 to 25 in books 4 and 5. The main themes, choice, politics, overcoming evil. The explicitness level, lightly explicit, far and few in between for a language. Explicit violence and a romance subplot. The tone and style, first person multi-character POV of different ages. What would you say is the tone and style of the book?
Yeah, that's more talking about maybe we're gonna have to do a thing on tone and style because maybe I don't know what it means, but like, is it literary? Is it epic? Is it like you kind of have an epic quality, Katie, to your work?
Yeah.
I would definitely put it as epic.
Once I started reading other people's
Yeah, right.
stuff, I was like, oh, there's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And I think you are in the new adult category and can market your work. It's really about how do you market your work, and maybe it's taking a page out of the Crown and Roses thing. I mean, but making sure that it's a new adult. It is 18 and up.
Because I was reading a lot of books with a lot of curse words when I was really young. Like I read at 5th grade, I was reading a 12th grade reading level. And so it's just the people, the youth that should find my book will find it. And especially if I market it up, I think marketing it up makes more sense for especially the violence. I think the violence is the part that I think scares me the most for kids.
Yeah.
Just it can get pretty gritty.
And a lot of things on TV will be like PG-13 and then it's very violent.
Yeah.
I watch all these Star Wars animated things for kids and I'm like, wow, there's a lot of violence. Great. And then older, mature teens to adult. And you might have those precocious readers like what you were. Me too. I was very precocious in my reading. Let me continue on real quick as we wrap up, but just what are the similarities between these three audiences? Their subgenres could all be the same. Each explores personal growth, but at different life stages. So that's another thing I think that's key to this genre is the life stages, and I guess complexity and explicitness. And there is crossover between genres. I think there's crossover in audience, adults reading YA, teens reading adult. And because of the world building and the adventure that appeals across so many ages. And then just want to focus that really this comes down to marketing. It's about where's it going to be marketed, where's it going to be shelved, and even how will it be written. So generally, young adult tends to be more accessible, more visually appealing, whereas adult stories could be a little bit more experimental and challenging, and that's a broad generalization. But here's some big expectations to keep in mind. YA readers will expect relatable teen protagonists and personal stakes. New adult readers looking for the characters navigating early adulthood, and adult readers seeking complexity and mature themes. And depending on how you want to market it, young adult will have more restrictions on explicit content, although not always. Sometimes the explicit content will be the shock value that sells the thing. And whereas new adult and adult can be more exploratory on all the themes. And a lot of YA is very romance heavy and trope, very leaning into the tropes, whereas world building or adult SF and F, I never call it that, may focus on more world building, politics, and philosophical questions. So that's another thing to be aware of. And even though, for example, I know yours, Diana, is YA and there is some romance, you're more leading into the world building. So I think because also you're doing the Nutcracker retelling, you're going to have a lot of adult readers.
And that's just who I read. Like, I love Ender's Game, and I challenge any of you to really figure out where Ender's Game lands.
Right, right. And I didn't read Ender's Game till I was an adult, and I was so surprised that protagonist was a kid. It's such an adult book. All right, summary, kind of, we just summed it up right now. Age categories are really, I'm not going to read the summary right now, but I just want to point out, and I'll be sending this afterwards, that there's tons of resources for you. There's up to 20 resources, and I grabbed this all from Perplexity. And I even put the Perplexity link in here if you want to go use my thing to inquire even further, deeper into it, and engage with the AI tool. Cool. Well, I hope that was helpful. These are the kinds of things I deeply thought about when I was working on my YA, and now that I'm working on the TV show, yeah, it is so coming of age. It is all over the map, coming of age, teen stuff. Or no, it's really new adult. That's the coming of age, new adult. Yeah. But in TV land, they don't talk about new adult. All right, so let's wrap it up so we don't keep everyone too far over. I want to know, what is your takeaway, your ahas, and all of that today? I did have one market question, but I can put it in the follow-up email. Actually, let me just grab it here. If you haven't already, I'd love to know what topics to cover in the podcast. And I have a poll, a very short poll that you can take, but you can do that later. So let's see. You said, just when I thought I knew this was insightful, it made me think about how to manage my work and questions to ask myself. Oh, I'm
Nice.
glad. I'm so glad. Yeah. And I hope, Katie, it was helpful for you being what you wanted.
Yeah, I'm leaving with a different group of people to market to. Or at least like a different perspective of, I think it was always going to be new adult, but I had been putting myself in YA for so long. And new adult kind of opens a lot of doors that I was a little scared to open. So, oh,
You really are dealing with adult themes. I mean, you got grief right off the bat, and then you've got this whole like making their way on their own, the two sisters,
yeah.
all by themselves. So, cool. How about you, Diana? Any takeaways, ahas for you?
I definitely need to give greater thought to tone and style.
Yeah.
Because the reality is I have no idea what I am.
Yeah. I mean, that brought up for me, like, it's taken me years. How long have I been actively writing fiction? Oh my God, like 26 years I've been like dedicated to fiction. I don't even know what tone and style really mean. So would you all like to explore that next time? I think that would be really eye-opening to all of us. And now that I've been so steeped in it for a while, I maybe can walk through that a little bit more. And also now moving into script screenwriting, which has also tone and style, which is so fascinating. We started reading the John Wick script. It's so good and practically reads like prose. I'm like, oh wait, I gotta. Ezra was reading it aloud. I gotta look at this myself and see how everything's laid out. I was so impressed, and the film matches the script to a great degree, although the protagonist is not in his 60s. It's
Right.
supposed to be in the 60s in the script. Yeah, any other takeaways or ahas? Ezra, how about for you?
Um, the idea of as I approach writing each story or outlining each story for the series, having the theme in mind, redemption, and how can I weave that in?
Yeah, yeah, you're really good at that. I know you do that with your fiction.
Hmm.
And Nicole, any takeaways, ahas, anything you want to think about as you move forward?
I can't really think of anything. I guess just to confirm that I am working on new adult. I mean, adult.
Adult.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's good for you to keep in mind because you have dark themes and morality. Yeah, great themes that are in the adult realm. Real quick, our next meeting is May 15th, 2 weeks from now. There is a sprint on Sunday the 11th, and the romantic subplot class will be available tomorrow, and I'll be making sure you all have access to that. I highly recommend it for those of you who are at the stage of editing where you can be thinking about all of that, because it adds another amazing theme and depth to our stories. It was so helpful. And my friend Gala Russ taught it actually, and she's also my client. So real quick, can I ask you a few questions about my podcast? Is that okay, Ez? I know
Yeah.
we had queued up so I
Oh,
put
yeah.
a link in the chat, and this is for the podcast, How to Write the Future. And I did an episode where I quickly summarized these 8 ideas, but I'm really just curious what you're curious about and if there are any other questions that these spark. These are kind of broad things. So one is writing speculative fiction for social change. Number 2 is world building in climate fiction. Number 3 is AI and robot characters in fiction. Number 4, I gotta vote on number 3. Oh, okay. Afrofuturism and cultural narratives is number 4. Number 5 is space opera and interstellar societies. Number 6 is near future technology and fiction. Number 7 is time travel narratives. Number 8 is biotech and future medicine. And then I have an other category. So you're welcome to choose whichever one catches your fancy,
I
or
voted.
what you voted for me on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody, yeah, or is there anything else that is yay, thanks to you for voting. These were just kind of ways to just throw some ideas against the wall, but I'm also interviewing. You didn't get a sticker. Oh, I don't have an I voted sticker for you. Sorry. Oh, that would be fun if I could have sent that. Okay. I'm not
No,
that.
no, no. I'm just being silly because it's almost 10 here, so I'm tired.
You're tired. Time to go to bed.
Here's a party sticker.
Oh, thanks, Ezra, for giving you a sticker. Giving you ice.
I'll take it.
You see it? You
Yeah.
see it? Party hat? Okay. And is there anything else? So next time we'll do tone and style. Like, what is that? And, what are the parts and how do we talk about tone and style? But when it comes to writing science fiction and fantasy, anything about world building that you're still like wondering about? Yeah, Nicole, do you have a question?
So I was thinking, one of the ladies that I'm subscribed to, I don't buy anything from her Patreon thing, but I am subscribed to her Patreon, and she just sent a whole bunch of stuff dealing with world building. So I wasn't sure if it was some stuff we can focus on. Like she has some stuff about currency and closing and just different things. And I was thinking maybe I should mention that to Beth because I don't think we've ever talked about currency. I mean, I know in one of my worlds, I have them doing a bartering system. They even trade for meals. Like we go to a restaurant, they trade for meals. So,
Right.
but
Yeah.
I don't know what everybody else's currencies are, and so
That would be fun. We could talk about currency, clothing, and another C word. Cars,
Comeuppance.
cars, catalysts,
Cars.
catalytic converters. Let's see. Katie says, just learned about the progression fantasy category. It's like Dungeons and Dragons, but all in writing. Can you explain what is that? I don't understand.
So it's kind of like what I did with my Kithri character, where literally like you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, but on a page. And so you're like you've created a level 0 person who like levels up through like a game. But in writing. I got recommended and it slipped my mind. But like there's like literally 8 books, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, and there's 18 beyond that that exist just around this one story." And I thought that was so cool that you can use systems and games to like really. I'm doing it with just like fun writing, but it was cool to realize that I'm not the only one doing it, and that it's a big thing. So,
Yeah,
um,
I
it's like,
actually talked to a guy. He didn't hire me. He was a really sweet guy working on like a mashup between sort of that gaming progression thing and also this Japanese manga style. Um, and it has another name. There's also like a Japanese sounding name to this, where people are really
Well,
using.
I
Yeah,
know they have like lit RPG novels, which are really good.
yeah. I haven't tried those. But I have a friend who writes in that
Yeah.
realm, sort of like gamer
Yeah.
RPG. Lit RPG is actually what it's called. Uh,
Yep.
ooh, I should
That's
interview her. I don't read it though. It's hard to be a fan of something I don't read. Uh, so I can get them to talk about it. Like I can just put the spotlight on them. That's what these interviews are. Yeah, cool. Well, fabulous. Why don't we end on time since it's late in some parts of the country? But not yet here. We got to go feed the neighbor cat, and are we gonna have pizza?
We're gonna feed it pizza,
We're not gonna feed the neighbor cat. We see.
but we will have pizza when we get home. Thank you, Hugh.
Thanks for that, Hugh. I love that. And I love that progression fantasy. That would be a good thing. Oh, look at all the floating pizzas on the screen. That is too funny. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. All right. So next time, Diana, you're the writer for next time. Can you send me something? Okay, cool. And great. All right, everyone. Have a really wonderful night. Happy writing, happy resting. I so need some rest. And we'll talk to y'all soon. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.